Hi everyone, my name is Brian Glodney and I'm a design director at Gensler, Los Angeles. I want to thank you all for allowing me to share this with you, the Town Square Initiative, but more importantly I want to share with you the power of an idea to instigate movement and engagement. Launched in 2012, a Gensler initiative called the Town Square Initiative to look at the future role of public open space was a global initiative for all of us. And as many of you know, our world is a rapidly urbanizing place. Many more people are moving to our cities. Half of our global network around the world took on this challenge to look at the future role of public open space. When we look at the impact that potentially has, we found out that we had the ability to positively impact over 65 million urban citizens through this initiative. Needless to say, when we found that out, this is how we all felt as a team. The challenge is no more apparent right now in our city in Los Angeles than in downtown LA, and Pershing Square is the epicenter of that. Pershing Square has become representative of poor design, a lack of community engagement, and quite literally the place of nefarious activities. It's also home to an urban renaissance, for those of you that don't know. The city of LA is undergoing this renaissance, something that's not nearly been seen in our city in 80 years. It's really an exciting time and place for our city, and Pershing Square is an opportunity for us all to take back our city and turn it into the place we want it to be. The role of this, or the first step in this process of reimagining the town square was to challenge our preconceptions and misconceptions about the role of public open space. From this, our first step in challenging this was understanding with the working thesis that town square needs to provide for anonymity, will allow for the people to transform that space over time, and that it's a contested place. Let me share with you some of the questions that we asked ourselves throughout this process. Is anonymity even possible? And when does anonymity fail? When does it succeed? Does publicly controlled space really belong to the public? And can it accommodate for the unintended? When does an interaction become a contest? Almost. And when does that contest become a conflict? At the end of that year, we came to understand that all town squares must provide a place that cultivates exchange and expression of ideas. And it's really important that it's not about design, it's about these elements. As we are designers, we couldn't help ourselves, but we had to come up with an aspirational vision. And what this was used for was to poke the bear of the city and the community, to make them understand that something needed to change within this space. There was an issue, we knew it needed to be solved, and the community wanted it to happen. This is where most academic exercises end, and for us this was no conceptual exercise. This was our city, this is our home, and we were going to make a change in it. So our team was built up of a working task force for over the course of a year of civic partners, business partners, community members, and professionals alike throughout the downtown region. We had a launch party that brought the community together to celebrate the activation of a new space, and it ignited a process for the year to come. Workshops, outreach, and the launch of a nonprofit. Then there's a question, to go or not to go? We could either actively pursue this project, or we could step aside and become the design advisor of the nonprofit.
Thank you.
I'd love some great questions.
Good job handling that clicker. I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
So I know Pershing Square quite well. I also know downtown quite well because I've lived there and been there and worked out of there for a very long time. Can you talk a little bit about some of the opportunities to bring people to Pershing Square and have a new conversation, and how you address through those workshops and your partnerships with the city and the neighborhood council, and how that conversation kind of got started, and what were the kind of aha moments that you might have had?
Sure, great question. It was critically important that we knew this initiative grew from the community. And so the first step before any design was done, before any decisions were made, before any competition was launched for this project, is that the community was engaged. And so for a year, we did engagement. We did in-person engagement, we did community workshop engagement, we did online engagement, digital engagement, art engagement, anything we could do to get community feedback. We even went on and did a user feedback through Yelp of just understanding how people perceive the space as users and visitors. And what was unbelievable was at the end of the day that everybody said there needed to be change. We couldn't all agree on what that change was, but everybody knew this space needed to change. And so from there, with this wholehearted community of the downtown LA residents, workers, business leaders, we all went to the city and said, look, a change needs to happen, and that became the first step. There's no questions about interests involved and who was doing what, but that we were all standing together trying to make this happen.
I think it's really an interesting task that the organization undertook to try to arrive at a definition for what the town square is and ought to be doing. And I think on one hand, it's really important to have kind of these functional definitions, but I'm interested in how it is that when you're actually doing a town square, let's say, in a community, how do you create an opportunity for that definition to be unwound, perhaps? You know, how do you set the table for the fact that maybe your definition isn't applicable to the place that you're doing work and have space for it after it looks like a lot of work trying to arrive at that definition in the first place?
Sure, and I think that's where the community does become really important. And as designers, we need to be really respectful of individuals' views and point of view of what their space wants to be and how that wants to change over time. And so that's why we started with a series of questions. We wanted to know what the answers and reactions, both culturally, emotionally, and physically were to space. So we wanted to understand that, and that became the platform. One thing we learned from Pershing Square in its latest iteration, that it's had this rhythm of reinvention over every 20 years for the last 100 years. The latest one is compartmentalized, and it's boxed, and it's overly designed because it tried to say, you will do this here. And what we understood from that is that the open space and the public space needed to be a flexible platform, that the programs and the activity and the people were actually paramount, and that the space itself and the design itself was what actually allowed that to happen. Design could very easily allow something not to happen. We wanted it to actually be able to transform over time.
What is the estimated range of costs to do Pershing Square?
Great question.
It's an easy one.
So it's a $50 to $80 million lift for the city, which is on par with Bryant Park, Union Square, both in New York and in San Francisco. So these great civic urban open spaces that everybody knows iconic to their cities. The cost per square foot with landscaping and programming, operations and maintenance throughout. It's similar in a price per square foot. It's a really heavy lift for us, but what's really unique in LA, someone mentioned earlier about the redevelopment agencies going away, is that we have a new infrastructure enhanced finance district, which will help us leverage city funds with tax increment, and also have all of our business and community leaders actually volunteer for it to share half of the burden of this. So it's a 50-50 partnership between the city and the community, which is fantastic. So it becomes all of our space and all of our square.
And thank you.